Music.
Reviews.
Chat.
Poems.
Comedy.
Writing.
Interviews.
ELFM, it's radio, but so much more.
Hello and welcome to Vandal Factory. My name's Natalie Quatermass.
And I'm Henry Raby.
And we are Vandal Factory.
I feel like we established that.
Yeah, that was quite clear. Oh, hello everyone. This is our first show of 2022.
It's lovely to be back in a new year with a fresh spirit.
Yeah, how you doing, Henry?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. I've just come out of 10 days of isolation stations, so the world is like big and scary and not my room.
You out of everyone I know, I think you're the best at isolating. I think you get the #1 award for just being good at isolating.
Oh, thank you.
Like not physically, just like emotionally.
turning everything off. Oh, Henry, how are you doing? Oh, fine.
Really distant,
just staring at the wall, staring at this wall. I'm
That's
gonna stare at the
you.
other wall, and then there's one more wall to look at. I've divided my week into these 4 walls. Or maybe I'll just do 3 and then it's a bonus. So
More importantly, how's your hope? How's your anger?
how's my hope and how is my anger? I've sort of. The government seems like it's ready to collapse, which is nice. I like to watch them squirm. Like, it feels like
It's
after...
enjoyable, isn't it, to watch them squirm? But they'll never get the right comeuppances.
No, well, Johnson will
That's
just leave and go off and have some nice cushy job. But it's quite nice after, I don't know, 20 years of being the Teflon man and then winning an election by just every criticism levied, just going, no, not interested, I'm just going to go hide in a fridge. To actually be like, so...
Consequences to your
that'd be
actions.
quite nice.
It is quite nice. I'm trying to allow myself little moments of enjoy it, because you've got to take these little wins. You wish it was over something more substantial,
Absolutely.
like the policy decisions that he's championed for his entire career. Not that breaking the rules is an okay thing, but
what about you, Nat? How's your hope and how's your anger?
My anger is I'm a bit past it all.
Well, it's January, isn't it?
I'm just crawling through January, trying to just doing the bare minimum is taking absolutely all of my energy at the moment. But I'm doing lots of pretty practical things, which does give me lots of hope.
You did a bit of digging the other day.
Does some
you?
digging,
yeah.
Creating a community forest garden with
nice.
Climate Action Seacroft. That's very nice. And walking me dog. That's good. Doing, just need to be out doing stuff rather than inside thinking. That'd be where the devil lies.
I don't know, those walls aren't going to stare at themselves. I've got a duty to those walls.
But apart from, how did you keep yourself busy when you were expertly isolating?
So I did the tried and tested method of just reading a book.
Yeah.
And I was
I've heard
reading
of them.
a book lent to me by the lovely James Moran, who does a lot of stuff on ELFM, and it is called In Defence of Scar. And it's about the... My flatmate came in and saw me reading it, and he was like, "Has someone upset you about Scar, Henry? You're preparing for an argument." So it's about the American Scar scene more, because Scar is seen as a more wacky, childish thing over there, whereas in the UK it has a much more respectable position from the specials and madness, but it's seen as real big fish are the wacky nutty things.
Cartoon music.
It's music for kids. You shouldn't like it when you're an adult. And so his book is in defense of this amazing genre. And out of the back of that, I did one of my favourite things, which is to make a big playlist.
Aww.
And as the completest I am, I made a playlist of the history of UK ska music, going back from the late 60s into the two-tone movement. If you can find it,
Wow.
I'll put it in the description for the show. The extended description.
Yeah. And wait for the views or the listens to go sky high.
It's 9 hours long, mate. It's great. And on that, I've been gearing up because I'm going to see one of my absolute favourite bands this Saturday. I'm wearing one of their hoodies. They are called Random Hand, and they are one of the first sort of I was really into 70s, but no, give me a bloody life story here. Come on, settle down. Basically, one of the first modern
Sometimes
bands
I
I
just
discovered.
don't need to say it. He just says it for me. It's brilliant.
Anyway, they're an amazing, fantastic ska punk metal rap band from Keighley, which is near Bradford, which is near Leeds. So everyone just says they're from Leeds, but they're playing a Leeds show at the Broods this Saturday. So I'm going to get my skanking feet on. Shall I play some ska?
Yes, please. Thank you, Henry.
Straight in the tab at a ready, you know where that you want tell the music to go. No attention for anything more. Recycled sounds are what you came in for. Now I love the beat, but I need to shout. And if you miss the points of the band, then plug in your brain and try to loud. Come on! Hey, 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 hey. Get up and get the beat. Hey, 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 hey. Now spit a little bit about what I think is wrong. Run along if you can, that happy song. See a band is alive and it grows and it flows and it shows that the path of sound is long. It's a white man culture thing, and when the bands can bring every style and put it in, you reject it, there's the exit. Big fat nose, but the point is where it's in. You turn your head, cause it doesn't go your way. That's fair enough, but I keep my teeth for when it close, man. Say, why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Say, say, say. You see deep underground, as far as about, there's no bad thing if you take to another sound. You can pick and mix with your music fix. There's a lot of stuff around. You only like one kind of tune. Complain that there's no room to mess about, but you can mix things up without a doubt. You turn your head, cause it doesn't go your way. That's fair enough, but I get my teeth for when you close mine. Say. Why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Why'd you be so fierce, I'm scouring up, why'd you be so scar? Go, 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 go.
That was Random Hand with Play Some Ska. And now it's time for Henry to do his own thing.
You put your left leg in, your left leg out. In, out, you shake it all about. You do the hokey cokey and you turn around. Henry? Henry? Henry, do you want to come? Henry? Henry? What's up with him? Oh, don't worry about him. He's doing his own thing.
I love that jingle so much. I mean, it's hardly a jingle.
It's more of a skit, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? So for those of you who don't know, I am a performance poet, spoken word artist.
Only child.
And a legend?
You have your moments.
Okay. So I've written a poem.
Ooh!
paying attention. No. You're in your own little world.
I thought you were doing your own thing. I
I'm
didn't think
doing
I
my
was
own
supposed
thing.
to chip in so much, really. You usually just crack on.
So last episode I did a poem about the 1800s, and I'm going to do another poem about the 1800s because I bloody love the 1800s. It's great. Everyone was having a great time. So basically I saw a tweet from the QI elves that said for 3,000 years the best way to get from A to B was to get some horses and tie a wagon to it or a chariot to it, right? And then in the 1800s we invented these things called trains. And then about 100 years later humanity had gone to the moon. In that so like that suddenly technology just like sped up like a train. It's
right. Say that again for me. In how much time?
So if you think that trains were pretty much invented at the start of the 1800s, by 1969 we'd gone to the moon.
Wow.
But for thousands of years, it was pretty much the technology was you get some horses and you tie them to a thing, and that's how you get from A to B. Yeah. So suddenly trains are invented, and then you obviously get cars.
And then we got a train to the moon.
Then we got a train to the moon.
Yeah.
So this is a poem about that.
Cool.
We'll be on the moon. In 100 years' time, we'll be up in the heavens. My bones will be poor marrow by then, child, but we'll be up on the moon. I've seen it in the steam, like they see futures for pennies in mugs. I've felt it in the red heat in my bones loading up the black into the blackening steel gob. Maybe they'll make a sturdy rail track that arrows upwards, like a silver oak tree, bolt together a good boiler the size of a house, point it up one night and chug up to the moon. They'll need good stokers from Manchester or Darlington, buy Northampton boots to stride over that orb up there. They'll breathe moon air. And if there is a man up there, he'll get a lot more company. I hope they'll be polite and bow and say, "Oh, may we stay?" Make sure it's not some baron or earl that pomps themselves on the lunar face. No factory owner with more wealth than sense is in his head. No one who hates this world enough to wreck it. Just eyes up adventurers. Maybe you'll make it, child. My grandfather made it to 35, my father 40. God willing, maybe you'll see 100. There'll be worrying and wars, I'll wager. More strikes and riots. Join your fair share of both, child. Love who you love. Hate the rich man and say a prayer early and late. I'll channel old Mother Shipton and say, the year of our Lord, 1969. Maybe you'll look up and see us on the moon.
Oh, wow, Henry.
I wanted to write a poem about imagination, but not from the perspective of how can we devour this world in a giant capitalist maelstrom of horror and not what can I, Jeff Bezos, do to get up to the moon, but what could it mean? And I think imagination plays a nice part of this show.
Yeah.
We've got Mosa and Mpetha talking about the imagination of DIY venues and making things and making events.
Absolutely. Mosa is such a dear friend of mine who is a proper Scouser compared to me being the Wirralite that I am. So it's great to have a friend in Leeds who makes me go really Scouse. So you'll notice my accent changes in this interview quite drastically than what it's usually like. But Mosa is a creative producer, an event organizer, and a visionado? No, what's the word? Visionado?
Visionado? I don't know.
Someone who's really, really knowledgeable about film.
Oh, yeah. Film buff.
A film buff. They're a film buff. So yeah, it was great to have a chat with her. Here she is.
Hi, Mosa. How you doing?
Hi, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us. So you are this amazing event organizer and film producer and creative, extraordinaire, awesome person. Am I right?
You flatter me.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm here for. But yeah, go on. Why don't you tell us where your passion for film first started?
So I would say, I watched films obviously throughout my childhood, did the usual. When I was in sixth form, I was spending a lot of time at home because I think I must have been skiving, but I would be spending time at home and I'd be lay on the sofa and I discovered the TCM channel, so Turner Classic Movies. And I just remember putting the channel on and thinking, oh, I wonder if there's an old black and white movie I can fall asleep to. And then realizing I was absolutely entranced and finding it really strange that I wasn't getting sleepy. And I remember there was like a Gene Kelly season on at the time, and then it was followed by a Frank Sinatra season. And I just really quickly realized that it was just a really deep, happy place for me. I love the styles, the clothing, the dance, the tap dancing, and it just felt like a really lovely, safe space. So I think I'd always had this love for kind of 50s musicals, which I didn't really think much about. That was just my own private interest.
Was there any time at that point, could you share that passion with anybody?
No, it didn't even occur to me to talk about it. It was just very much for me. I mean, I remember when I went to uni, I started going through a phase of doing like drunk ordering DVDs. So it would be a very specific mindset. And I'd come home and I go, and I just think, I think about a particular actor or a director, and then I just bulk order a bunch of DVDs, forget about them, and then a few days later they'd arrive, and it was just really exciting. I'm like, oh my God, what a gift to future me. And I just, so, and then I've just been building a collection, but again, completely didn't occur to me to ever think of it as some kind of career or job, or even talk to people about it. It was just a very private thing that I was doing.
That's funny, because I was like, one of my questions is, it always seems to me that it's not just about the film itself for you, but you've been passionate about watching film with other people and making events happen with unusual films in unusual places. And that to me has always been like, what gets your like glimmer in your eye when that's happening. Is that fair?
Yeah. So yeah, it is. I think I'd just been obviously watching these films by myself, but then Laura Ager, a friend of mine who I work with in Scalarama Festival, one time in Hyde Park Picture House, she came up to me and she was like, I've heard that you like old films. Do you want to put on a film? We run screenings in the back of the Reliance. Do you want to put on a film? So I thought, I've never really considered doing something like that before. I thought I'll give it a go. I'll screen Harvey, which is a film from 1950 with James Stewart. It's my favorite film of all time. I'm just presenting this film to people. It just, just sharing my most favorite thing with a group of people who then were like, a lot of people hadn't seen it before. Everyone's really enthusiastic and passionate. And I just thought, oh my God, love this. This is absolutely what I want to do. I want to just like the little gems that I found over the years, and something, when you're just so in love with something and you just want other people to be in love with it.
Oh, that's so nice. And you mentioned Scalarama there. What for people who don't know, what's Scalarama?
So Scalarama is a national festival that was created over 10 years ago now, which was, there was a cinema in London called the Scala, which is like a very cult classic cinema, very well known in like cult cinema circles. And that closed down. And there's a bunch of people who were all fans of the Scala decided, let's hold a festival every September in which anyone can put on film screenings in this month, and we'll promote it kind of nationally and locally. So that's kind of grown and the shape has molded, and I'm part of the Scalarama Leeds team, and we are a group of friends, and we're all interested in film in different ways and have different kind of careers, but we're all interested in films. And every September we ask as many people as possible, or organizations, community groups, individuals, and say, hey, do you want to put on a film? And it's all about empowering people to just see how easy it is to put on your own film screening. And then we'll kind of make a brochure and advertise all the films together, but every individual person gets to try it out. So a lot of film programmers kind of start off in this way, because it's like a really supported way to put on your first film screening. And it just means we've got a really eclectic program. We had in the last Scalarama, we had some Fellini films shown in Heart, and then we also had like a VHS screening of Batman happening in Hyde Park Book Club. Like it was just, it's just bonkers. Lots of different things happen, and it's really exciting. So,
And it's really DIY as well.
really DIY, and it's a lot of it is about using unusual or non-cinema spaces. So, just kind of film can happen anywhere, and it can really, change how you feel about a film when you watch it in an unusual space.
I think a lot of people's experiences of cinema is going to a big multiplex, or that's you're going out to see a big screen. But it's really exciting to see stuff in these like DIY alternative spaces. Is there like some, I don't know, any tips or things you've learned if someone is like, oh, I'd like to learn a little bit more about how to put a film on in the back of a pub or a warehouse or a garden shed?
Yeah, I mean, it is really simple, but I do understand it's just a big unknown. I would just say, if you get in contact with the Scalarama team, we would talk you through the process. It doesn't even have to be in the month of September. You can email us on scalarama@gmail.com. And we do it all the time. People will come up to us and go, I've been thinking about this, or I've got venue. I was talking to a brewery the other day, and they were like, we've got this like room in the back, and we'd love to kind of start showing films as well as selling beer. We just talk through the process and kind of demystify it. The main thing is the license cost, but if you can balance that out by ticket price and seats, then it's normally fine. And it's just, I think what's really important to me is that if a bigger variety of people are putting on films, that means there's a bigger film offer in the city. And we're not relying on, like you say, the big multiplexes, The View, etc., or Everyman. There are people that are putting on different types of films, like say High Pop Picture House or Leeds International Film Festival. But that's still just two groups of people. I think everybody should have a say in the films that are on, and especially the little niche films that you think, oh, I watched that when I was a kid. Or, for me, I'm really particularly interested in African cinema, and there's certain memories I have of certain films and getting my hair done, like in an auntie's house. I'm like, I want to show that kind of stuff, because it's just, if it's not on the kind of the film release radar, sometimes it's quite hard to see. So it's up to us to put it on. We all should be putting on films, I think.
Amazing. And what's one of your latest projects with Iconic Presents?
Yes, so you know me, I can't say no to a project. Actually, it's not that I can't say no to a project. It's just like ideas. I just get really excited. So me and my pal Matty, who we play football together in Republica FC, which I don't know if you've heard of, but it's like a very left-wing football team, which is very inclusive and does lots of fundraising.
Don't you have to play on both wings if you play in football? Oh, I made a football joke, Henry!
Look at you!
Henry, I made a football joke!
Oh yeah, so it's just so it's kind of a socialist, maybe it's the wrong word. It's a very left-wing football team. We're all variety of left-wing folk in that team, but it's just really inclusive across genders, non-binary folk, trans folk, and and there's lots of fundraising and activity that happen to support different refugee charities and other charities in the city. So they're super duper. So I met my good friend Matty playing football, and we basically were really interested in the idea of screening films that kind of crop up in queer culture references all the time. So, people are watching RuPaul's Drag Race and they're referencing films, or, you hear about them in songs or the quotes. So there's a lot of films that we've probably watched at home alone or in the past, but we wanted to bring them again into a shared cinema space so everyone can re-enjoy them together. Yeah. So we set up something called Iconic Presents, because all the film feature iconic performances or have like iconic status. And we've just been doing it as and when we feel like it. It's really nice to have a project that's geared around, it's kind of like bringing a hobby to life, really.
Passion project.
Passion project, absolutely. So we did, our first screening was Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which we screened at Wharf Chambers Classic, went down really well. And then we next screened Death Becomes Her at Clay in Leeds.
Which I was at. That was so much fun.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The audience was lively.
Yeah.
We were really into it. So the next thing we're screening is Sister Act, And yes, can't go wrong. You know,
I'm
one
so
of the
excited.
most iconic.
Oh,
And I know it's a more well-known one. It's just fun, you know.
it's
And I
brilliant.
just think,
It's just brilliant.
being in a big audience, and we all just get to sing along. So that'll be on the 10th of February at Clay. And there'll be promotional activity about that. Matty does all of our posters. They have amazing artwork. And yeah, so that's the kind of the next iconic screening we're doing. And as ever, in every screening, we'll announce the next film by trailer when you're all there.
Amazing. That's so good. And it was such a good night. It was just like, it often is when you go into a queer space, you're like, oh, fine. I am amongst friends. And it just felt like I instantly knew like the whole audience. And we were all a group of pals that were going to watch this film together and have a laugh. And I can only imagine that Sister Act will be that twice over.
Excellent. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. That's the main thing, you know?
Mosa, we want to play a song on East Leeds FM. What song would you like to hear?
So yeah, absolutely. My Guy from the Sister Act 1992 soundtrack, please.
Who could take me away from my God? Tell me more. There's not a man today who could take me away from my God. What's that? There's not a man today who could take me away from Henry.
Aww.
Yes, there is. There's not a man today who could take me away from rabies.
Is that because we're doing a live show?
Yeah.
And we need to be on it?
It would be really inconvenient
to
if someone
take-
was trying to take me away at this moment in time. I would, I've turned my phone off, so it shouldn't. Unless they were to physically come in here and try and take me away from you. Then...
Well, the laws are changing, aren't they, Nat?
Oh, what a Anyway, what a segue. We are going to go from one banger into Nat's banger of the hour. And I wanted to give my solidarity for everyone who was protesting last weekend on the Kill the Bill protest that happened up and down the country, for people standing up for their right to protest, to be seriously annoying, and for not to have crimes and policing take on more powers in this country than they've ever had before. So with that in mind, I want to play Stand Up by Akala.
Because every single song you own is a banger.
It's time for Nat's banger of the hour.
Bangers.
Is it a banger?
UK, stand up. Akala. It's not a rumour, blood. All my people stand up wherever in Britain. Bro, I know the flow's cold, let me know that you feel it. Bro, I know the road's slow, got you ready to kill him. Cause I feel the same pain, hear the lyrics I'm spitting. Critics ask why I don't smile, they gotta be kidding. Little kids will blow your head off just to say that they did it. I'm in the streets, one deep, these villains think that I'm slipping. Nah, bro, I just don't really care about none of your spitters. Cause if you're real, then you're feeling it. No, I don't give a shit, this is just me, I ain't putting on no images. Respect the message, brother, illustrate records, British flag, yard colours, cars tell me where my head is. First time you saw me, I was screaming, fuck the police. Next time I came, I changed the whole game in the streets. These wallies still trying to catch up with war. I bang harder, farther, roll with us, I ain't even started. Mosa, stand up. Longside, stand up. Handsworth, stand up. Aston, stand up. Newtown, stand up. London, stand up. Anywhere, everywhere, all my people stand up. St. Paul's, stand up. St. Anne's, stand up. Toxteth, stand up. Chapeltown, stand up. Luton, stand up. London, stand up. Anywhere, everywhere, all my people stand up. All my tucks stand up, fist in the sky. Girls too, hands high, now you're chilling with I, Mr. Brazilian. So of course the women is feeling them, lyrics is brilliant. No question, illest in England. I ain't watching the States neither, that whole shit's tired. All the great rappers is either dead or retired. All these soppy cunts talking bitches and blunts. How much a chain cost, then you busting your gun. And it's made it over here too. You got these silly little kids talking about they 4-5, never even seen a thing, and you can't spit it. Your click is not top, I don't need a stick for your sticks. You get a box in the chops. Silly boys can't bang with me, fools can't hang with me. I don't really care unless it's paper or my family homes. This is the roads and there's only one strategy. Though I hate my reality, it's just the way it has to be. Coventry, stand up. Bradford, stand up. Wolftown, stand up. Glasgow, stand up. Cardiff, stand up. London, stand up. Anywhere, everywhere, all my people stand up. Derby, stand up. Leicester, stand up. Newcastle, stand up. Sheffield, stand up. Belfast, stand up. London, stand up. Anywhere, everywhere, all my people stand up. I talk a lot, but I don't conversate with punks. Try so hard to teach, but your man, I'm a dunce. Don't learn till the shit happen, burn when the clips clap. And this is not a perm, but you worms get a relaxing. My reaction, only in the street fashion. I am not bulletproof. I could get my melon splattered, so I move ready, spread positive energy. But I know full well, couple praps wanna bury me, no reason, just cause. That's the negativity. How could you be a nigga not feeling my delivery? Lyrically, my ability, ripping up killers viciously. Spitters that wanna mimic me, sticking them where the spirits be. Pretty boy, I call him move like an ape. Skinny, but I push plates like I'm fresh off an 8. Mate, so you really should stay in your lane. Only spitter on my level, got the same last name. Mosa, stand up. Longside, stand up. Handsworth, stand up. Aston, stand up. Newtown, stand up. London, stand up. Anywhere, everywhere, all my people stand up. St. Paul's, stand up. St. Anne's, stand up. Toxteth, stand up. Chapeltown, stand up. Luton, stand up. London, stand up. Anywhere, everywhere, all my people stand up. Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Anywhere, everywhere, all my people stand up. That was Akala with Stand Up, and I do hope you are standing up. But that song reminds me, Henry Ravy, of was it 2017 or 18 when we were on tour?
So we're also a theatre company as well as a delightful radio show.
All right, that was a bit passive aggressive.
Oh, sorry. I meant.
Okay. They were gonna catch up. We were on tour with the show.
That's quite an insight into our relationship there. I just like say a comment and get told off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand up against you.
So we were on tour. We made a show that could fit into Henry's car, and we were bombing around most of the UK and doing it. And so we would often listen to Nat's car bangers, of which Akala's stand up would feature. And then we would play a made up game in the car where you've got to do that rhythm where it goes stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, and we've got to alternate saying place names. So you're just going to make up the place names. So we're gonna give it a go right now, and we recommend that everyone else has a go as well.
Lovely.
Are you going to start?
Okay, I'll start.
Ready? Wait, I haven't thought of one. I've forgotten all places. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Seacroft,
stand up. Blackpool, stand up.
Plymouth, stand up.
Stand up. Newcastle, stand up.
Gotham,
stand up. Anywhere, everywhere. All my people, stand up. London,
stand up. York,
stand up. Edinburgh,
stand up.
Glasgow.
Oh, you did too.
Oh, sorry. No, you go.
Glasgow,
stand up. Anywhere, everywhere.
All my people, stand up. Woo!
Why is that so hard? Could we do it one more time? Please. Just one more.
The whitest feature in the world. Two white people try and do a little game out of Akala's rap. Right, okay, you're going to start this time, though.
Okay.
Ready?
Cardiff, stand up.
Luton,
stand up. Another place, stand up.
Middlesbrough,
stand up. Leicester, stand up.
Leeds,
stand up. Anywhere, everywhere. All my people, stand up.
What a pair of legends.
I would say so.
Speaking of legends, we've got another interview coming up for you lovely listeners now.
We do. We have the lovely Maddie Shann.
So I once saw Maddie do, so she's a choreographer, a dancer, a theatre maker, performer. Years and years ago, I met Maddie when she did a show about fear and about insecurities and phobias. And I remember really clearly that one of them being about a fear over the climate crisis, about catastrophe, environmental damage. And I do genuinely remember thinking, I've never seen a theatre maker like list this as like a fear of this thing that's coming. And I still think even back in, this is like the early 2010s, I'm only talking 7-8 years ago, but it still felt that was like, but climate change is this thing that's happening in the future. I think the dial has changed so much to go, it is something that's happening. I mean, obviously it was happening then, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But this idea that it's something that you make work about and you talk about as a genuine fear that we are living through now.
Wow.
It was the first time I'd seen that. And that was Maddie within this show about phobias and fears.
Cool.
So in this, she talks about The Spring, which is a new piece of work she's been creating. So without further ado, this is our chat with Madeline Shann.
Hello, we are joined by Madeline Shann. How are you doing, Madeline?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So we want to talk to you about your new show that's in development, R&D, called The Spring. Now, when I was looking it up, it is a screen dance project. I've never heard, I know what a screen is, I know what a dance is, but this one word together, screen dance, can you set up what a screen dance project is?
So it's a little short film, which is very exciting for me because I've mainly been working in live work and stuff like that. I mean, it's funny because it's filmmaking, which is yet another discipline which is expensive and difficult to make money from. I seem to be a real bloodhound for this kind of thing. My career is just finding stuff that's hard to do and doesn't pay any money and just following that.
Preach to the choir. So what was it about this project that made you think film was the right genre?
I've been doing a lot of live work and it was really, really difficult to get people to see it. I ended up being quite sort of like fiercely independent and also just very like very determined. Like if I get an idea, it's one of those, you get an idea in my head and I can't stop thinking about it or think about anything else. So even if I like can't get funding or whatever, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna make it myself in my bedroom with this coat hanger and this like bowl of porridge or like whatever's hanging around. It's gonna happen. The next bit is like getting on stage and booking tours and getting people to see it. And I would just always find that that bit just became really, really difficult to do. And I mean, the amazing thing about making film is that you put in all the effort to make it, and then it like exists. It's not reliant on your memory as to like whether or not it happened. I think also I was just finding that I was always sort of like saying a lot of stuff, like I make a lot of work that's very political, and then I sit with it for a long time, sit with the material for a long time, and so it becomes very difficult to resist just sort of like purging like huge amounts of like information like at an audience. And I think I was just noticing that it was like very full on. It was full on for me, it was full on for them. And so I was like, okay, what if I try and not say anything like at all with words? And what if I really like zone in to like looking at stuff and showing stuff like in real detail? If I go on stage, there's no way I can show you like how like the veins of a leaf or like how amazing like a mushroom looks from like underneath. Like, I can't show you that stuff. I have to, but with a camera you can really bring people into this kind of like epic kind of like micro world.
Have you watched Green Planet?
Oh my god, I haven't watched Green Planet.
It's so good.
I'll get on it.
Just joyful, amazing. Exactly what you're describing, like just being able to film plants, film the world from a plant's point of view.
And the spring is about our relationship with the natural world. So in the blurb, I wrote down the word anthropocentricity. Can you talk us through what is the root behind the show The Spring? What's it about, basically?
I mean, it's non-narrative, so it's kind of like watching a sort of like long and weird music video. So we have a dancer and we have the outdoors, and she's in the outdoors, and so it's kind of more of a like a vibe journey, if you will. Sorry,
that is.
You are talking our language.
Do you want to watch this thing? I'm all right. Do you want to watch this vibe journey? Hello.
Oh.
Tell me more about a vibe journey.
Here's the moral of the story: everyone should be themselves.
The real anthropocentricity was the friends we made along the way. I think, I was really, really, really trying to not press any of the things that I really want to say, like to not press that through it. So it's kind of just about setting aside time to kind of like take in like these like textures and this light and these shapes and these colors, and where like we're blending a lot of like the dancer's body and then also like non-human bodies of like plants and fungus, and like it's a piece that's like 12 minutes long, and I'm really keen for it to be like available for screening, so you can have this really nice like experience, but also for it to then have a life where it's like just available for like streaming and things like that. Also, there's like special exclusive intel. So the score is an original score. It's by Javier Velestein and Becky Wilkie. For this live performance, we're also bringing in a choir who for this performance is She Choir from Manchester. It would also be nice to like have like event screenings that are like that, where like the local choir or a local choir or a local group of singers can come and be involved in it. So it's kind of like it's a film, but also live. You know, I usually make art from a place of sort of like urgency and anger and like outrage and all of these things. And I kind of really needed a break from doing it that way. You know, and I still stand by all the work I've made that does this, and I will make it again, believe me. But like, rather than being like, you should care about this and we should do this more and this isn't okay.
It's show not tell. And I can really relate to, you know, you can spend all our time going, this is really important. You need to be more in sync with nature. You need to stop consuming so much. Stop being so busy. Essential that we find ways to step back and to show not tell. Okay, you want more people to engage with what's going on with the seasons or what's really happening to our planet, then maybe start showing it and doing it yourself, and you might bring some people with you.
I think people do know like that this is bad and like that the stuff is wrong. And I actually think for a lot of people, the more they feel like it's wrong, the harder it becomes to then take that step into taking responsibility for it. And because it's so overwhelming, and it is overwhelming, you know, it's like really, really huge and dreadful. You know, people respond to like different like prompts basically. And so I was like, okay, well, what if we're acting out of like love? What if we're acting out of like, the world is so incredible that like I literally don't want to harm it, and I'm excited to protect it, and I'm excited to, you know, rewild. And there's so much of the climate fight that is about regenerating and is about forest gardens.
There's joy,
like
joyful.
Joy, exactly. There's so much about it that's like that. And, you know, there's a whole spectrum of like emotional and like practical angles to be taken. Which I think is really like exciting. But yeah, for this, as a little treat, I thought I'd let myself take a joy approach this time.
Good for you. I think you should be entirely unapologetic about it. I don't think it's a treat. I think it's essential. I think it's not a luxury. It's a necessity to look at some leaves.
Maddie, you put up a blog recently entitled "To Artists at the End of the Earth," which is this sort of part manifesto, part call to arms about, you know, how we make work. And you talk about, you know, I'm thinking so much about our imaginations and how sometimes we feel so constrained to the rules of the arts game, right? We've talked about, you know, get funding, book a tour, talk to venues, get schedules done, contracts, all this stuff. And sometimes we lose this vastness that you talk about we need to be radical in how we approach our art. Being a professional artist and being a professional imaginer.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a really great question. And I think I'm definitely like at the start of that journey myself. Because I think, for me, my journey was like fairly common. So, you know, you go to university, you kind of have no idea, I was lucky enough to go to university and study drama. And I kind of had no idea going into that, like what any of the rules were, how any of this works, how you get to do this stuff. And then, coming out into the crash, thank you very much, 2009. And suddenly having to make a living and just, kind of learning as you go on that like actually it works like this, and actually you need Arts Council funding, or you need this funding, or you need that funding, and actually you need to know how to speak like in sales pitches, and you need to have the elevator pitch, and you need to know how to write these things. Like that was a big learn of itself. And so now I'm kind of and that exerted a lot of pressure on the kind of work. So as much as obviously, like I've really, of course, like hated the pandemic and hated not being able to go and see work, it's been quite nice to not be like relentlessly hammered with seeing work and feeling like excited, but also like insecure and jealous, and like being in this like constant competition where you're so influenced, even if you try not to be, by like what other people are making. I think like Edinburgh Fringe is like also a really good example of this. Like I feel like by the time you come out of the Fringe, you kind of don't want to see another 1 hour show, like as long as you live. Because I mean, and you know, that's not like, you know, people make amazing work at the Fringe, but like you start to see like that actually a lot is happening in quite a tight framework. And so
It's
for me,
kind of going back to, it sounds like you're describing what I call overstimulation. And just and that almost going back to the need to take a break and go in a different direction and to slow down, or to create work that's of a different vibe journey. And
yeah,
I can't remember the last time I felt imaginative without any constraints. I can't even remember, which is pretty sad. Oh no.
I know what you mean.
Quick,
and
I'm going to schedule in 10 minutes where I can be imaginative with no constraints. Go.
Do it. I mean, like what I like to do is just do something that I'm not good at, because I feel like, for me, I feel like at the beginning of learning how to do something is when all the possibilities are open and you have like no grasp whatsoever about rules. So starting to think about making film was really exciting, because I have no idea about film. For me, this is a really exciting place to be in, because it just means you're just trying stuff, but you have no idea whether it's going to work or not. Like, I went into the shoot for this film, and some ideas I had very clearly in my head, and some of them I had no idea. Like, when I came back and looked at the shots, some of the ones that I'd meticulously planned and drawn out, they just looked dreadful, and they just didn't work, and they didn't make any sense. And some of the ones where we'd rocked up and I'd just been like, just like had a go, or been like, oh, this looks cool. Like, some of those look amazing. And I mean, that was when I could really feel the like imagination machine, like really sort of like spreading its wings a lot, like just having to react in the moment and just be really like looking and like seeing differently. Would be
what a joyful approach to have towards, in your words, not being very good at something. I'm sure you are pretty good at it. But what a wonderful thing. Like, we worry so much all the time about not getting better, not being good enough. And then to be able to go, oh, I'm not very good at this. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I wouldn't try it with like heart surgery, but
Great. Thank you so much. That was brilliant.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you.
What song do you want us to play on East Leeds FM?
I would love you to play a Jessica Hoop song called Born To. Imagery is just like powerful, exciting. It's a good one for like a run through the forest.
Spinning out of dust into rock.
That was Born To by Jessica Hoop. What a lovely song. I feel like I want to go for a lovely old run in the woods. I mean, obviously I don't. I want to sit and stare at some walls some more.
I really enjoyed that chat with Maddie, and what a beautiful, wise, kind soul. I hope I can hang out with her some more soon. She lives in Berlin, which we talked about off when we stopped recording. Yeah. I had no idea that she was in Berlin when we were talking to her.
Well, last I heard she was in Sheffield, so...
Oh, right. She was like, oh, yeah, at the end. Yeah, I'm in Berlin, so I'd love to come back to Leeds, but it's a 12-hour train journey. I'm like, oh, right, okay. And I was thinking about... the song was playing, the stuff that Maddie was saying about using your imagination and finding time to just be imaginative and not putting constraints on yourself. And your poem that you read out earlier on the show about imagination and us dreaming of going to the moon. And I think I'm taking a lesson for myself there. I think I need to carve out time for myself to just stare out of a window a bit more and not always be functioning, doing.
Yeah, less of the admin, more of the
dreaming. Oh, well, put that on a t-shirt.
Well, it feels
hang it in your wardrobe.
It feels like this vibe journey is ready to pull into Nat's provocation station.
The chat train is pulling into Nat's provocation station.
I mean, I literally just said what the jingle says, which sort of made it a bit
That's okay. You can deal with it. Have I told you? I don't think I have. That John, my partner, was referred to this as Nat's hallucination corner. It's like, oh, what are you going to say for Nat's hallucination corner? And then our friend and neighbour Brendan was like, oh yeah, how's the show going? Is it going to be Nat's constipation corner? Oh, guys.
Can't wait for those features.
Well. Shall I begin? Are we all sitting comfortably? This is my provocation for January. Here on the Vandal Factory radio show, we believe that narrative matters. I hope I'm not speaking on behalf of you there, Henry Raby.
I couldn't agree more.
Excellent. I may continue. The stories we tell ourselves about our communities, about our futures, impact every element of our lives. I also believe that it's healthy to challenge dominant narratives, even if it's ones that you adhere to. And this is something I've been doing recently when it comes to the climate crisis and thinking about climate adaptation rather than climate mitigation. What does that mean? You could do that bit.
What does that mean?
Well, let me tell you, Henry Raby, it means that in my own mind, I'm trying to challenge the narrative that the climate crisis is something that is only going to affect future generations. No, it is affecting millions of people around the globe today, and it has been for generations. I am trying to challenge the narrative that the climate crisis is a big, evil monster that we can pull together and defeat if we all just do our bit. Afraid not. There is already climate change that is locked into our global atmosphere and we cannot undo it. I'm trying to challenge the narrative that we are all falling into an apocalypse with burning tyres in the streets and fights in the queues to get our daily bread. And just when we think it couldn't get any worse, a billionaire appears and waves his, because it would be a him, waves his money stick, tells us how to spend our money differently, and saves the day. I also want to point out that these narratives aren't completely wrong, and they're still the dominant narratives in my head. This is just something relatively new for me that I'm approaching with a critical and curious mind. It's also worth pointing out at this stage that I understand that not everyone has a space in their head to think about climate change narratives. Particularly in Seacroft, recently there's been a huge surge in antisocial behaviour. So I get that people are rightly worried about their doors getting kicked in or car windows smashed. People have different priorities in their lives and that's okay. They have different challenges to face. But this is what I like about the focus on climate justice and climate adaptation. The focus is on solving problems and finding sustainable intersectional solutions. Can't afford healthy food? Let's find a sustainable, affordable way to reorganise food distribution in our community. Can't afford your energy bills? Well, let's think about how we can insulate your house differently or recycle rainwater and so on. So, I hear you cry. How are you putting this into your creative practice, Nat?
How are you putting this into your creative practice, Nat?
As a theatre maker and storyteller.
As a theatre maker and storyteller.
I shall tell you, little urchin child. I have this amazing opportunity to be involved in a project that's called Suitcase Stories. It's funded by the Natural Education Research Council through my uni, York St John's, and the Institute of Social Justice, where I'm doing my PhD. And this project will be working in schools in Seacroft and in Batley, taking young people and connecting them with young people in Nigeria and Vietnam. Together, we will discuss how the climate change is affecting our communities. We will become young researchers and scour the globe for stories of climate adaptation. Oh, I can't remember which one it is. I know my supervisor's listening and she's going to be thinking, is it climate adaptation or climate adaptation? Oh, sorry, Cass. I'm going to continue.
Is it climate vibe journeying?
Yes, the vibe journey shall continue. On this project, we're going to ask two important questions. One, who is already being the most affected by climate change and how are they adapting? And two, what can we learn from their experiences and apply to our own communities in the UK? Through active listening and research and dramatisation, we will embody these stories and fit them into a suitcase. By which I mean that small groups of 2 or 3 young people will have props and costumes that fit into a suitcase. And then they can take their stories in the form of performances out into the community and prompt conversation about climate adaptation around the world. I'm also curious to see how a different conversation can be had with young people about climate change. How can we say, yes, it's happening and it's terrible, but we will adapt? How can we hold hope for a better future and the horror of the climate crisis predictions? How can we process those emotions through our bodies and through story? We're also interested in local stories of climate adaptation. Think Global, Act Local, which is another great radio show here on East Leeds FM.
4 p.m. every second Friday.
Thank you, Henry. So I was trying to think of my own suitcase story and I arrived at this. Food prices in the UK have been soaring for the last few years, and this is unquestionably related to the climate crisis. One simple way to think about it is plants can't keep up with our ever-changing weather patterns. This means that the most vulnerable in our communities are choosing between food and heating. Eating is no longer a given for families in the UK. Even those of us in relatively middle-class positions are still feeling the effect of these food price rises. Without wanting to cry poverty, me and my neighbours do go through lean times and we have to watch our budgets carefully. So I was delighted to hear about Surplus to Purpose, the Real Junk Food Project. They are based in Leeds and there's various projects that happen nationally as well. And they intersect food from supermarkets that's going to landfill and give it to food banks and homeless shelters. And they run pay what you feel, supermarkets and cafes, do all sorts of stuff with the food. So I ordered one of their veggie magic boxes for £10. And when I arrived at this massive warehouse not far out of the city centre in Leeds, I got about 4 times the amount of food that I was expecting. I was handed this huge crate of food that was so heavy I could barely carry it. And it was filled with potatoes and aubergines and a 2.5 litre tin of tinned tomatoes, bread, cakes, crisps. It was awesome. And it all got eaten by me and shared it with my neighbours and our friends. And it served us very well. And it kept our food bill down for last month. And also we've eaten perfectly good food that otherwise would have just been completely wasted and gone to landfill. So that's a small example of maybe some climate adaptation, trying to find solutions to injustices that exist within our community. So that's my provocation for January. What's your suitcase story, listener? Whether it's local or global, I challenge you to find one and to share it.
If there's anything in the Vandal Factory show that has piqued your interest, has vibed your journey, you can get in touch with us. If you email info@chapelfm.co.uk, you can get in touch with any thoughts, anything that's inspired you, interested you, any stories, any responses to the provocations. Don't be nasty.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Sleep well.